No. Volunteers.
Live subjects. Volunteers.
After that, he volunteered to test experimental parachutes.
File says they
require the assistance of 2.
I'm asking you to volunteer for is accept.
Volunteer.
Additionally, we have a vast network of civil defense volunteer aircraft.
Volunteer section of this campaign is now over.
I volunteered at a signal station near Abbeville.
You best hope it does because you'd be volunteering there.
Establish some order among the volunteers.
We're going to flood the state of Mississippi with hundreds of student volunteers.
I'm going to miss volunteering here.
From North Second would cross our border. No. Volunteers.
None.
We've even had simulation bio-war games here with live subjects, volunteers. I mean, I'm scared.
Al Moore. He led a combat company in Korea. After that, he volunteered to test experimental parachutes. Experimental parachutes. Sounds like just the guy.
Well, they're going to show up again.
Agreed. File says they volunteered for Strucker's experiments. It's nuts.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for my final trick, I will require the assistance of 2 volunteers. Mr. Merritt, if you would oblige me.
The mission I'm asking you to volunteer for is exceptionally dangerous. Take a look at the
It's for special ops throughout the war theater. In case you want to volunteer, there's a shiny new Viper with your name on it waiting for you in the hangar.
We're installing anti-aircraft batteries all over town. Additionally, we have a vast network of civil defense volunteer aircraft spotters keeping a constant vigil. They report their...
The volunteer section of this campaign is now over. It's time for the draft. Tito, Meade, get the 6 strong.
I was there for the last few months. I volunteered at a signal station near Abbeville.
One man's not going to make enough difference. You best hope it does because you'd be volunteering next. What?
We'll search out the veterans among them. Establish some order among the volunteers.
Good. There's little time to teach these fun.
Pose. Freedom Summer. We are going to flood the state of Mississippi with hundreds of student volunteers to educate and register Negro voters.
Mrs. You decide.
I'm going to miss volunteering here.
Oh no. If ever there is a person born to work at the nursery.
Wait, Comrade Zaitsev!
I love this little fellow.
Vasily, is it true that you volunteered for the front?
Vasily, how old are you, Vasily?
You know what this duel means for our country?
Is it?
You wait there till I get back. You'll be safe.
I'm a soldier. I volunteered. I'm not walking away.
You die here. Right here.
I'm just like the others.
We need volunteers and priests in case someone dies. The work's up.
Excuse me, Emmett. Do you remember last week at the town meeting when you volunteered to meet the new school teacher at the station when she came in? Oh, yeah.
Piss in this dress. If I get it off, I'll never get it back on again.
There'll be plenty of volunteers to help.
What do you think, Jimmy? The beating chips out of our knickers?
Will he promise me to be careful? Don't volunteer or do anything foolish or
Mother,
dangerous.
I won't. I won't, I promise.
And unbroken. Is it bad to speak the way I do to volunteers? I've done a lot worse.
Plane crashed on the mountain. You heard about it?
I know, they phoned the hotel. They want volunteers for a rescue party.
They're having a meeting in the schoolhouse.
Listen, if they want people, you can ask them to take me.
All right, guys, I'm gonna need 4 volunteers. I got a game that's gonna test your manhood. You determine.
All I'm trying to do is be nice to the people who are volunteering to help find Amy.
You're right.
It's not very chivalrous.
I volunteered. Insisted, actually.
Is the suicide the next day of Craig Hansen, volunteer firefighter, estranged father of 4, and a poor tendency to drink. Mr.
Oh, shit, I can't order anyone to do this. Someone's got to volunteer.
Yes, you can. Just give us the order.
Amen. That means no pay. I'd better get a shirt on, man.
I ain't going volunteer until I've had my coffee. Now drink your own, Reverend.
Well, just call me Captain.
Captain.
Phone call did take place. Let's say it really was Zodiac. Why would he volunteer the day he was born? Plus, nobody died on December 18th, just like nobody died.
To die. I need a volunteer from the audience. Someone not afraid of death.
I'll need 1 volunteer, man or woman.
Just one. How about you, gentlemen? You, Princess.
How about that? Meet with these counselors at least once a week to go over their clients. There are now 17 volunteer social workers, psychologists, and/or psychiatrists. We help.
Anyway, the president has volunteered to sit in for Ben at the convention. Quite a nice gesture. I do hear...
Represents a minute. Wait a minute. Matthew Harrison Brady volunteers to prosecute in monkey trial.
Matthew Harrison Brady.
Must be Mrs. Chandler.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Emily has volunteered to work in the clinic. Very generous of you.
I know.
We need to talk when you have a...
So she's usually either there or they go out. They do a lot of volunteer work.
Behold, I send you out as sheep amidst the wolves.
You can't turn it off.
Well, he's not saying that. He's saying just don't volunteer.
Just tell a little white lie.
How can I find out more about your cause? Because I have a lot of spare time.
Oh, would you like to volunteer for the Volunteers for San Marcos?
Is it possible to discuss that over dinner tomorrow?
I've got no facility. If I don't pass the examinations, I shall volunteer as a missionary. Rose, too. Not comely among...
A certain kind of malleability. 65% of volunteers were obedient, but that left 35% who...
Strength! Where's the Cossack strength? They're hard-pressed to give battle to a handful of volunteers. We won't send out our forces to round up the oxen.
We submit
ourselves to the law.
A volunteer for guard duty? Huh? Not you, Hans.
Why not?
Was she a volunteer or a draftee like me?
Yeah.
Larry Rooney volunteered to jump in and ride shotgun with you the rest of the way.
Hey, Elvira, we got us a couple more volunteers.
Great. Just grab a tool and start banging.
Okay, that sounded wrong. I know that you're busy volunteering.
It's not the volunteering. It's all...
Past since we last left our characters. Joe Gage volunteered to take Smithers' dead body outside. Straws were drawn to see who'd help him.
We gotta go back out there. I need volunteers. You, okay, and you, and you. You?
Till one day a new opportunity arises.
We need volunteers for an experiment. The doctors want someone to be an...
I volunteer.
Locked us up.
Over. You gonna rig a dummy to draw fire?
Not unless you want to volunteer.
What a screwball idea.
Yeah. I repeat.
See how I know so much? I volunteer for the rescue service. You see, I'm something of a,
Nightline, I was in Rwanda, Chechnya, all over Bosnia. Thanks. Do some volunteer work with Greenpeace once in a while.
Greenpeace? What drew you there?
Women.
I tell you, he's a proper, very nasty fella.
And the officer just smiled and then asked for volunteers for the camp concert.
Both the sergeant and the officer, they're as bad as each other.
To Spain. 39 men have volunteered to stay behind to build the fort. I name it La Navidad.